Midwest Picker on YouTube.
Hey, Midwest Picker here. My name is Dave. This is Joey. I don't know if you've noticed, he's sporting this brooch here he got from Vintage Vagabond Benz. He's very proud to wear that. I don't know if it suits him, but it looks cool anyways. This is a video about tools. Man, I love tools. I love sourcing and selling tools. I love owning them. I love touching them.
Trying to pick up sheet metal, so you want to keep it pointed.
I got this tool right here. This is currently for sale in my eBay store. Big jumbo wrench. I guess you could use it as a weapon too if you kept it in your car. But I got all kinds of tools on my eBay store. So if you love tools, check that out. But this video is about sourcing tools. Now, when you go out there, it can be kind of intimidating. There's lots of different brands. There's different kinds of tools. Tools come in different conditions, used and new. And if you're female, you might not be used to tools or know much about them. That's okay. There's a bunch of guys who don't know much about them either, so you're not alone. But they can be worth tons of money. Now, there are budget and cheap tools. Those are everywhere, and we all know what that is. Harbor Freight, the grocery store, the Dollar General, they all sell tools. But we're talking about valuable tools. Now, cheap tools are fine for you to use at home. They're going to work just great today with modern technology and manufacturing techniques. They're going to work fine, but you want to resell because you're a reseller. That's why you might be here. People want to buy quality tools. Those are very, very valuable, collectible. Some are old, some are new, and we're going to talk about all of them right now. I have a lot of luck sourcing tools. Probably number one right now is Facebook Marketplace, but that can change quickly. I also source tools at flea markets, garage sales, estate sales, occasionally thrift stores. Also, the Restore is a great place to source tools. I've recently sold a bunch of tools. I'll put pictures up here. Some of them for good money, some of them for not a lot of money. But the point is, tools do sell. People want them. I'm going to cover 5 categories in this video, and I'm just scratching the surface. This is not an all-inclusive list at all. First category we're going to cover is wrenches, specifically open-end wrenches, box-end wrenches. Now, everybody know, well, not everybody, a lot of people know the king of wrenches as far as value and price and quality is Snap-on. That's kind of a known thing. If you're out in the wild and you see new or used Snap-on tools, grab them. Even if it's one individual wrench or socket, if you can get it at a good price, grab it. Snap-on started in Milwaukee in 1920. Very high quality, but very expensive tools. But there are other brands out there too that you may have never heard of. I'm going to cover those because they're worth good money and people do want them. And as with anything, whether it's artwork or clothing or tools, condition matters. Don't even bother with the tool if the chrome is flaking off, if it's all rusted, damaged. Don't waste your time. Also, if you're sourcing a set, if the set is complete, that'll help increase the price dramatically. Here's an example of some Snap-on wrenches that have sold just in the last 90 days alone. Holy cow, can you believe that? $1,000 for a set of wrenches. And real quick, check these out. You might find these weird looking things loose, like in a cigar box or any box. If you see these are called crowfoot wrenches. They are an extension that's added to a bar and you just crank it around. If you see these, check the brand. Some people sell these without even knowing what they are, even if they're individual, 3 or 4 of them. If they're the right brand that you hear in this video, grab them. But what about these other brands if you see them out in the wild? How do you know they have value? Well, it helps if they're not made in China. Made in the USA, made in Japan, made in Europe. That's usually a sign of good tools. The next tool, the next wrench I want to talk about are Mac tools. Mac is a brand of quality tools that can go for really good prices. Mac tools started in 1938 in Ohio, my neighbor to the south. Check out this nice set that sold for $1,000. Wow, that is crazy. Another great brand is Tecton. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. I'm not sure. Tecton also makes quality tools that are in demand. Check out these beauties for $600. Whoa! Vintage quality, like these Wright brand wrenches, if in good condition. People love vintage tools also. These can sell for really good money. Here's a set that sold for $595. Yikes. Wright tools started in 1927 and are still going strong today. Well, let's not forget about the oddball tools. These are the weird things that you might not recognize, or the names you might not recognize, that I want to cover right now. Another weird one that you probably don't know about or haven't seen before are like these International Harvester wrenches. I never heard of these until now. International Harvester, they made vehicles, tractors, lots of books and manuals, and apparently they made wrenches. I bet these were short-lived, but people want them, and they will sell. These sold for $600. Check out the prices on these Klein wrenches. Have you ever heard of Klein wrenches? I've never have until I researched this video. Klein wrenches are super high quality. Klein started making tools in 1857. Wow, before the Civil War. So those vintage tools are out there, as well as the new ones. Well, I could talk all day about wrenches, but we got 4 more categories to cover. So to recap, for these brands that you want to look for, there's Snap-on, Tecton, Wright, Mac, and Klein. And of course, there's other brands out there, but this video would be 6 hours if I talked about every single brand. A little public service announcement: there are gold-plated wrenches. These were gift sets for employees or Christmas or whatever. I've seen them before on Facebook Marketplace. Other brands, I think Mac and Snap-on sold these, and extensions for socket sets that are gold-plated. If you find these, they're probably going to be very high priced. When people see gold, when they're going to sell it, they're going to assume it's worth a ton of money. They're worth some money, but you're never going to source them cheap. So I would just avoid the gold-plated wrenches and tools, unless you can get them super cheap.
My name is Joey, and I would love it if you would comment, like, subscribe, and share. Maybe Midwest Picker will stop crying.
Next up are socket sets. Man, I must have hundreds of sockets in my garage, in my toolbox, but socket sets or individual sockets sell very well. I sell them all the time. Almost every week I sell an individual socket. And we have the usual suspects. We have Craftsman, Cobalt, Stanley, SK. These are all popular, high-quality sockets and socket sets that people want. Now let's start off with Snap-on. Snap-on sockets are super popular, super high quality, and very expensive. If you can source them cheap, you're sitting on gold. Some of their socket sets can go for huge money. I can't imagine paying $3,000 for a socket set, but professionals do. Mechanics do. HVAC guys, all these mechanical professional guys, they do buy these socket sets. Now, I know what you're thinking, Dave, I'm never going to find a complete set of Snap-on sockets out in the wild. Well, maybe, maybe not, but you can sell individual sockets of high quality, high demand. The larger the drive size and the larger the socket itself, the more it's worth. I got this bad boy on sale right now. Look at this thing is like the size of a baseball, and it's very heavy. I think I paid $6 for this sucker. This is a Armstrong brand, another good brand, but these individual sockets, they do sell. Some people need replacement sockets because they're missing one, 10 millimeter. And some people are building socket sets from scratch. So they're buying individual pieces and wrenches to put together a set. Check out the prices of these individual sockets that sold in the last 90 days. This is crazy. Those are crazy good prices, and that's just a small sampling. But people do need replacements, and people do assemble their own sets from scratch. Let's get back to complete socket sets. I want to show you brands that you've probably never heard of. Another brand of sockets you want to look for is Proto. They started in 1907 making chisels. Can you believe that? Today they are known for making some of the best industrial quality tools, and these socket sets are out there. Check out this small sample of some sold sets. Man, I would love to find some of those sets on Facebook Marketplace. Sometimes they sell cheap. People just want to clean out their garage or their barn or their attic and they just want them gone. You can get them at a really good price. Another brand you may not have ever heard of, but you could find out in the wild is Koken. Koken started around 1957 by Mr. Yamashita in Japan, but they do import these into the United States. Here are some solds of this high quality socket set. Yeah, I have to admit I've never heard of this brand, but now that you know and now that I know, if we see this out in the wild, could be cheap, just mixed in. Flea markets too often sell individual sockets in coffee cans and boxes, and it'll say $1 each. And if you got the time, just quickly peruse and look through the big ones. And if you see Proto and Koken, you know you've got gold. The last brand is Williams. Williams started making tools in 1882. Here are just a few examples of some sold sets. I hope you wrote those names down. I got them right here. Joey, well, he can't write anything down. He doesn't have any hands. All right, next category is wood planes. We can't leave out the woodworkers. And if you didn't know, new and vintage wood planes can be worth a ton of money.
Look at my cool shirt. That is awesome. Where can I buy one? Go to MidwestPicker.com. I'm on it.
Modern planes, they can have some value, but people do love collecting those vintage wood planes. Check out these sold prices on these vintage wood planes just in the last 90 days, and yes, these are out there. Did you notice how many of those sold wood planes are Stanley brand? Yeah, keep that in mind. Those are very, very collectible. What about brand new wood planes? Well, brand new wood planes are out there. They might be harder to source at a low price, but they can go for good money. Check out these sold brand new wood planes. All right, next category is micrometers and dial calipers. Now, if you don't know tools, you'd be saying, Dave, what the heck is that? These are measuring tools for measuring the inside and outside diameters. Now, there are cheap ones you can buy today, I guess, if you wanted cheap. But the old phrase, you get what you pay for, applies to this category more than any other category. So let's first look at micrometers. The first time I ever saw these was in high school shop class. I took 2 or 3 years of metal shop. I love shop class. Joey, he's not allowed to take shop class because he has no hands. This is an example of a brand new, inexpensive micrometer. Whether new or vintage, some micrometers can sell for a ton of money. One name that comes to mind is Starrett. Now, pretty much any tool by Starrett is going to be worth a lot of money, but Starrett micrometers are very prized tools and worth a ton of money. And there are other brands that sell for really good money. Check out these solds in the last 90 days, Starrett and other brands. And the other tool in this general category is dial calipers. These are inexpensive, but they can be very expensive. And these are both available as digital and mechanical with a needle and dial. Check out these sold prices in the last 90 days for dial calipers. Now, I've seen these on Facebook Marketplace, but the prices were kind of up there, $40, $100, so I had to pass on them. But if you find these out in the wild, you got to be careful, because if they've been dropped and damaged, but they look okay, they might not work. So if you know what you're doing, try to test them before you pay for them. Last category is hand saws. Now, the reason I included this is because it's the least valuable of all the tools, but that's good because you can source them super, super cheap. I've seen these at flea markets, estate sales, garage sales for like $1, because people assume everybody wants power saws. Who wants a hand saw? So you can source these really cheap. And people do collect vintage hand saws. Vintage hand saws and even some new ones can be worth a lot of money. Check out these sold saws, hand saws, vintage, new in the last 90 days. Well, that's the video, guys. I hope you found it a little entertaining, but very educational. When you're out there sourcing, looking for stuff to buy, tools are almost guaranteed to sell if it's the right brand and they're in good condition. The key is to source them at the right price. So hit that thumbs up button on your way out. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Hit that share button. If you know anybody that loves tools, or they like to source tools to keep or source tools to resell, hit that share button and send it to them. Any words from Joey? No, usually he's pretty quiet. He does whisper to me during the video, which I try to ignore. Until next time, see ya.